guys, I am back with another review and a little bit of a discussion. I wanted to talk about Diesel Ignition, or Tyson Hesse's Diesel Ignition, which is a middle grade graphic novel. Something I have not talked about before on the channel. It has been a really long time since I've talked about any graphic novels, full stop, and I wanted to talk about this one not only because it's one of the first full stop graphic novels from the middle grade section that I have wanted to pick up, outside of ones that I read when I was younger, like Bone, but they're building popularity in the section, and it's something that I want to look into and discuss more. I have parents of struggling readers who are upset that their kids are gravitating towards these picture books, so to speak. Like, there aren't enough words. It's not a legitimate book because it has these pictures. I have parents with struggling readers who are so ecstatic that their kids are reading something, anything, and there's some people who just in general don't know they exist, don't know they are there. And I think there's a good movement towards the acceptance of comics and graphic novels as an art form and as a subsection of literature. I'll get more into that in another video, I think, and I'll talk about a couple different examples of middle grade graphic novels and maybe even adult graphic novels when I'm looking into that. This one was just the first one that really caught my eye and one that I wanted to talk about with you guys. Diesel Ignition is the story of a young girl who's about to turn 18. She has been living on the ship of her father, who was murdered / kidnapped / we aren't quite sure what happened to him when she was very young, and she's about to inherit it. She's finally going to be old enough to take over the ownership of this ship. She's a bit of a troublemaker on the ship, though. All of these familiar faces that you can recognize from the very brief preamble that we had at the beginning of the book that discussed the disappearance of the father and sort of the past that the ship has, have slight annoyance and acceptance towards her, which is a bit of a trope of the person who's just waiting to find the right thing. And she says at one point in here, "I'm not very good at anything. I was hoping to be good at this," like being the owner of the ship. And because she feels that she's not good at anything and that this is her destiny, she hasn't put a whole lot of effort into anything. She spent her time running around, causing trouble, getting in people's way, not in a, like, malicious way, more of a bit of a clumsy, clamoring around, not quite sure where you fit into this world type of problem. The thing I may not have mentioned is that that ship that she's going to be the owner of is an airship that flies around, and it's basically a giant city that flies around. And in this world, there are those who live in all of these ships that are flying around, merchants, towns, cities, and all of that. And then there's folks who live on the ground, but between the flying cities and the ground are these giant storm clouds that are creating distance between the two. Fairly early on in the book, their ship gets attacked. Diesel ends up falling and somehow making it to the earth without dying, as would be expected through those thunderstorms. And this is the story of her trying to get back to her ship, also to figure out why they were attacked, to figure out what has been this whole mystery throughout her life of what happened to her dad and why it happened. And you're meeting people that she knows from the past and people that she's related to. It was very action-packed. So if you're looking for like an adventure story, this is a really good one. And it's not a superhero story, which a lot of people would associate with graphic novels and comics. I really liked the art style. All of the characters were very distinct, not just in like their facial structure and hairstyle, but in their way of being. You could see like a photograph of everybody when they were little and how that translated to them when they were older, but you also got to see the little bits and changes that happened that made them into the person they are for the majority of the story. I'm definitely going to pick up the second one of this, and I would highly recommend this to adults and children. It doesn't have super violence. I don't think there was any gore, and there was no romance. And the female leads in this are very strong. The captain of the diesel ship is a young woman who has inherited it from her father. Obviously, our protagonist is a young woman who has inherited the ship in general from her father. There are male characters that play key roles as well, but the fact that there are these women in strong positions of power and it's not commented on, like it isn't strange for them to be there. It's just seeing them in these places and that being okay that I find very great for young girls to see. There's a difference between showing outstanding women being outstanding and being like they broke all of the odds and are 1 in a million, and then there's just showing women doing things and accepting it. And I feel like when we get to the point where women can do whatever they want and we don't have to go, wow, that's crazy that she did that. That's when we've surpassed the point of needing to help these girls grow up. There needs to be more role models who aren't the damsels in distress, but who are the people who are going out and doing stuff, and that it's not exceptional for them to be doing that. That's just life. That turned into a weird rant at the end, but it's there, and I talked about The Thing, and it's pretty, and if you like graphic novels, it's a good one. Pick it up, please. Okay, thanks, bye.